Okay. How does a Scrum Master heal a toxic team environment? Well, short answer is they don't. Okay. Yes, the role of a Scrum Master is to create that environment where the team can really do their best work. But it's not all on them. In fact, very little of it can they do. Okay? This is one of the important distinctions. Scrum Masters, Agile coaches don't tend to do things. They tend to help others do things. So when we recognise that a team environment is going toxic, it's not about us doing something to fix the situation. We don't fix other people. We're not therapists. They're not damaged. Okay? The interactions have become such that the team can't do their best work. Things aren't being surfaced. So what we have to do is start looking at that and understanding how we can help the team create a better environment. And this is going to be a slow process. It's very unlikely to be resolved in a single conversation. But step one is always going to be call it out, acknowledge it, make the situation visible to everybody so they can't ignore it. Toxicity in teams goes on for long, long periods of time and slowly festers if we don't tackle it head on. So that's our role. Okay? It's a hard conversation to have, but we need to gather everybody together and offer it as an observation. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm perceiving. This is what I think is happening. And they may or may not agree with you. Doesn't really matter. If you're seeing it, there's likely something there. And if they're disagreeing, that might just be that they're not ready to accept that yet. And that's okay. We all take our time and different times to come round to this point of view. So what we need to do is start helping the team explore this space. So this is going to be one-on-one conversations to understand, am I right? Is there actually a toxic environment here? Can people talk to each other in a helpful, constructive way? Or are there background conversations going on? Are people cutting people out? Whatever that toxicity is that truly happening? Or have I just got the wrong end of the stick? Okay? So you want to talk to the people that you believe are involved, or the whole team is often easier, just to get a litmus test. Step one, make it visible. Let everybody know. Step two, double check it. Because step one sets you up to have those conversations in step two. Now we're going to have some ideas about what's happening. Is it that two people have fallen out? Is it that there's other interactions at play? How you're going to resolve those will be very, very unique to that context, to that one situation. But you're going to be falling back on some key skills. One of them being facilitation. You're going to have to run some meetings. You're going to have to get people talking about this incredibly difficult topic. They're going to have to acknowledge it. And your coaching skills in the one-on-one situation, but also in group situations. You're going to have to be stepping away from the facilitator role and into that coach role and ask questions that make people stop, think deeply, and ultimately come up with a way that they, as a group or individually, can move forwards. A few skills that I've found useful. One of them is non-violent communication. This is the idea of changing your language such that it's not imposing on them. You're not putting your thoughts and feelings onto them. You're talking from something that you do own, which is your thoughts and feelings. It's not about what you think they did or why you think they did it, but instead it's how you felt because of what they did. So you will very often start with a simple observation. When you did this, I felt that. So, when you two had that little side conversation in the meeting, I, got concerned that the whole team wasn't included. I was worried that people would view that as, a little clique forming within the team, and that's ultimately going to lead to, a lessening of our relationship, a lessening of our safety. How can you help me deal with that? So we're really phrasing it about helping me. It's not helping you, but we're opening up a conversation. And what I found is people very often go, yeah, sorry, we were just chatting about where we're going for lunch. Okay, well, that's not a problem, I understand that. Thank you for explaining. But how do we stop that? How can I help you then stop that? Okay. And that leads me into the second tool I use, which is what I call ORCA. It's a feedback framework that I came up with a fair few years ago now. Observation, relevance, consequence, action. Very much grounded in the MVC ideas. But you're looking at, what's the observation? What did I see? I saw you talking. Okay, what's the relevance? Well, because you're having that sideline conversation, I know you're not engaged in fully in the topic. I also believe that other people are recognizing that you're not engaged, and they may think you're talking about them, about something that's important but you're not willing to share. I don't know what. So what's the consequences of that? Well, actually, that's eroding the trust within the team. That's eroding the safety within the team. Maybe only a little bit, but it is doing that. So how can we help everybody not have that happen? How can I help you? How can you help me? How can we as a team? It's a way of offering feedback that really grounds it in facts. Okay? Get them to accept the observation. Did it happen? Yes. Get them to accept the relevance. Get them to at least understand the consequences, and get them to help you structure the action. Okay? That way, you're offering feedback. It's not necessarily comfortable, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But within a structure, at least it's easier. You know what the next step is. You can have thought it through. But they don't tend to disagree with the observation, or the relevance, or the consequence. The action, that may be a bit harder because they may not actually care, in which case you've got a bigger problem. Okay? But all of these things are going to come together to really help you start unpicking the causes of the toxicity in your team. You're going to spend your time working with each of these people and collectively. Maybe in your retrospectives, maybe it's so bad that you want to call it out separately and say, you know what, we need to sit down and thrash this out, have a proper conversation and uncover what's happening. Because if people within the team are falling out and they're not liking each other, but they won't surface it, we're at a stage where conflict is unhealthy. They need to learn to have these conversations, to let it bubble out, say it, and be done with it. Okay. So sometimes our role in this is actually to cause the fight. And I don't mean throwing punches and throwing chairs. I mean actually letting people say what's off on their mind, get it off their chest, okay, in a professional manner, okay? But you're going to have emotions run. And that's okay. Nobody's going to get hurt. They may get upset, but they're not going to get hurt through this. Okay? We need to learn to navigate those spaces, help our teams navigate those spaces, because ultimately, when we have a toxic culture within our team, we know that we can't do our best job, and the team absolutely can't do its best job. And ultimately, that's what we're going to come back to. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.